Well, here's something that's long overdue. Oh, baby, it's Mercs 2.0, and guys, I am really excited about this, even though I've had this book for, oh god, like 3 months now without doing a review. Sorry. So yes, this is the much anticipated and touted second edition of Mercs from Megacon Games, a company out of Indiana. Now, Mercs originally burst out into the scene like 2009, 2010-ish, as a little sort of unknown game. And it had its charms, it was doing a unique thing, but it didn't really work. And I think part of its problem is it came out really close on the tail end of when Infinity sort of burst into the scene here in the States. So it felt like, well, it's basically the same, but it really isn't. And I have to admit, I was one of those shitheads back in the day who was like, but I already played Infinity, why would I play this? Now, I have to admit, first edition Mercs is rough. I mean, there's a lot going on in here that just doesn't work, and the system isn't all that great. It has its charms, but it has a lot, and I mean a lot, of rough edges that, when you look back on it, make it not that great of a game. And that is where this bad boy comes in and fixes basically everything. Now, this book... Let's talk about this book. I went into it a little bit in my Mercs Mega unboxing, but this is a beautiful piece of gaming literature. I mean, it has basically everything you could possibly need. It's got a short story, it's got all the fluff, it's got all the unit stats for all the models in the game, it's got all the rules, it even has a freaking campaign system in it, which is awesome, and we'll get to that later. So yeah, this clocks in at just shy of 400 pages, whereas this clocks in at just shy of 200. So the new book is basically twice as big as the original. And for good reason. Like I said, it's got all that stuff in there. And when I say it's got every stat for every model in the game, I mean every single model. There's even stats in here for using models from Recon in this, which is really cool because it means you can take those Recon Security Force guys, or if you have some of the special characters, and work them into a game of regular Mercs. So what sets Mercs apart from, say, Infinity? Well, there's a couple of things. One, the setting. It's near future instead of super distant, God knows when sci-fi. There's no cat people. Everything takes place on Earth, and there's no aliens, so you got that going for it. But also, the aesthetics and the gameplay are so vastly different. Now, when it first came out, like I said, I was very critical of it. I thought, whatever, I've already got a Skirmish sci-fi game, why would I need another? Oh, how naive I was. But man, now that I look at it, they are completely different games, and quite frankly, I lean more towards this now. Now, like every game these days, it has to have sort of its defining feature, its gimmick, if you will. And for Mercs, that is the card-based range and movement system. You see, instead of using your standard tape measure to measure ranges and movement, this uses cards. Now, each of these cards has these little cutouts here that are just the right size for a 30mm round base to fit in, and that's how you move models. Every movement point a model can move up to one card and can turn and do stuff like that. And this is a really neat system, and it actually works quite well. Now, obviously one of the big problems with the original version was that this was also the stat cards for the units, which meant there was a lot of stuff that kind of got muddled. The new stat cards are way better. The old stat cards had such a problem of things getting lost and confused because I was like, oh, well, this number in this blue circle means this number in this red circle means this, but this number in this other little red circle next to the big red circle means this, and it was just a big mess. Now, the new stat cards can be a bit symbol heavy. After you play a game or two, you kind of understand what they all do, but it's not nearly as bad as, say, Wrath of Kings that was 99% symbols and half of them did the exact same thing. But the new stat cards are so much cleaner and so much better, and they're so much smoother, and they're just an absolute joy to use. And quite frankly, they're 110% improvement over the old version. Another big change in second edition is that the game has become incredibly deadly. They reduced all the firing numbers down by 1, so now there's more chance of guys actually hurting each other, which makes the game feel a little bit more action-y, which is good, because part of first edition's problem was that sometimes it just felt like you couldn't kill stuff. In this, you can definitely kill stuff. Now, As I say with basically every game I review, it isn't perfect. And I'm going to keep saying that because people keep asking me what a perfect game is, and nothing of the sort exists. But Mercs does have its flaws. Some of the advanced rules are a little tricky to understand. Suppression and Overwatch are very similar in what they do, but just different enough to be different things. But it's a little tricky, and sometimes the wording isn't that great. And there's, you know, some stuff, there's a whole big page of just modifiers, which can be a bit daunting, as well as the full 2 pages of keywords. Now, granted, the keywords thing may be a bit of an exaggeration since they're all explained on the stat cards, but still, it's a lot of stuff if you're trying to remember it all. One of the things I really love about this is that instead of just giving you a couple of scenarios or like, oh, kill all the guys, or oh, go here, they give you a lot of different variety of scenarios, and it's really kind of well done. And each of the scenarios offers different things in the way the game is set up, in the way tables are set up, the way models deploy, all that sort of good stuff. One of the other unique features of this game is army composition. Basically, you have a squad of 5 guys, and you just pick whoever you want. There is a game mode in here called Platoon, which lets you take all 10 of the models in a faction. So there's no points values, there's no math to do when trying to set up a game. It's a lot quicker. You just go, okay, I'm going to take you, and you. And you go. Now, of course, you can't have doubles, so you can't have a whole team of heavies, but you get to basically just pick and choose without having to worry about, oh, well, you didn't take this guy, so you can't take that. Oh, but you're not playing at this point level, so you can't take this thing yet. No, it's just, oh, you want to take that guy and that guy together? Have fun, knock yourself out. Now, I mentioned a campaign system in here, and for those of you who've been watching, you know I'm a sucker for a good campaign system. And the campaign system in this is actually quite good. A little weird at point, a little convoluted sometimes, but very, very cool. The only problem with the campaign system, it uses the conflict dice, which while I have a ton of them, if you don't own conflict, you don't have the dice. So that can be a bit of an oversight, but it is very good, and you can buy the dice separate, which is fine. I don't know, maybe they should have worked in a way to use something other than the conflict dice. I love the use of the conflict dice. I think the conflict dice are great. I think conflict's a great game, and having these and being able to use them in multiple games is awesome. But little bit of an oversight. My only other real beef with the game is that some of the things aren't worded so great. There's quite a few things I had to go onto the forums to ask how they work because I just couldn't find explanations for them in the book. I couldn't find explanations of how certain abilities work or how certain things in the campaign happen. It worked out in the end, I got the answer, but I feel like maybe the book could have been laid out a little bit better to explain certain things, but overall, I mean, it is really good. So yeah, that's Mercs 2.0. It is a phenomenal game, and if you're looking for a really cool alternative sci-fi skirmish game and Infinity just ain't your bag, check this out. The book alone is worth having. It is amazingly well done. Quite frankly, the game is fun. And as I said in all my recon videos, if you're playing recon, those are a great way to get into the game as well because you get 5-man teams. Buy one of the starter sets for recon. That gets you 2 Mercs teams. Buy this, some D10s, and you're set to go. So yeah, Mercs 2.0, huge improvement over the original. Absolutely a blast, and I highly recommend it to anybody who wants a good sci-fi skirmish game. So yeah, that was a lot longer in the making than I expected. Sorry about that, but I hope you guys did enjoy. Obviously, be sure to keep it here for more Mercs content. I'll be doing recon stuff, learn to plays, bat reps, all that sort of stuff, because I have more than enough stuff to do it with. And if there's anything you'd like to see us do Mercs-wise, let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget you follow us on Facebook and Twitter by checking out the links below. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on the flip side.